Welcome to Therapy Thursday. Today we're going to expand on our last blog on Whoop. If you missed Pete's last blog last week, check out this link below. So Whoop, as Pete described last week, is primarily a sleep and recovery tool. If you've been in our office, you've probably seen Pete and I wear these little bands around the office. We just wanted today to sit down and kind of share our experience. We've been wearing it for about 4 weeks now. Pete's also had the opportunity to visit the Whoop headquarters in Boston, which is pretty cool. Experience to add to what we want to talk about today. And the biggest thing is we want to let you know what this tool might be good for you guys for. So first and foremost, the things I found it most beneficial for is being highly informative for sleep information. Letting me know, suggesting when I should go to bed, telling me how long I slept, how many disturbances I had in the night, and giving me some sort of information on improving that sleep hygiene process.
Yeah, I'd just build on that in regards to the sleep metrics. Once you've been wearing it over at least an 8-day period, because when I was at Whoop, they were telling me that it takes at least that minimal amount of time to get an idea of a person's individual physiological characteristics. Another cool thing about it is that it is self-learning to the individual, so the longer you wear it, the more it begins to know about you. So after you wear it about 8 days, all of a sudden each evening, something pops up on your smartphone saying you require X amount of sleep to be optimal the next day. So I thought that's been a very useful tool to have. As well with the sleep, it takes a couple of measures from your last 5 minutes of deep wave sleep, which is one of your different sleep cycles. And they validated that in sleep labs to show it's as useful as different monitors that are out there and just slightly less useful than actually EKG leads. So it's a simple tool to use that you get very high quality data, and that's actually what feeds into your recovery score. So I thought that the accuracy was really important, as well as letting us know physically how much sleep we require.
And going back to the recovery tool, so the information that you get in the recovery algorithm gives you a percentage of recovery. And also when you go to the app, it'll tell you whether you're in a red, yellow, or green zone. So I found that when you wake up and you see your recovery's in a green zone, I found that to be a little extra motivation for my training session that day, which has been great. It's just a little added little boost to say, today's a good day, I'm gonna go at it a little harder in the gym, which is kind of a cool behavioral sort of motivation factor.
Yeah, absolutely. And at Whoop, they were showing me some very cool data sets. So with the Whoop, there's two different ways you can use it. One is individual users like Dave and I are currently, but the other is as a team or if you join as a group. Now that one's more costly because it involves a whole back-end spectrum where you can overlay all kinds of different variables onto how an individual recovered. So it asks you subjectively things like caffeine intake, alcohol, all these different things, whether you read before bed. And you can overlay those variables based on recovery scores and see how each individual characteristic may or may not impact recovery. We know, obviously, no correlation doesn't equal causation, but it is an important thing to see, and it's really neat to see that. One thing that they have coming down the pipeline is for individual sports, where, say you're a high-level triathlete, you might then be able to look at where you rank compared to other triathletes at the same age and gender in terms of, things like your sleep hygiene, how much sleep you're getting, your recovery score, all these other cool variables to see sort of how you rate compared to others. And I thought that was a really neat tool that they've got coming down the line.
Cool. And one last kind of feedback for me, I'm not a big watch guy. I've had no problem with the band, very flexible, very easy to wear. But it would be really cool if it had, a watch embedded into it. Pete's obviously doesn't experience that same issue. But in conversation with Whoop and a couple other patients, that would be a cool feature if down the road they could develop, a watch into the Whoop band.
Yeah, and in general, the band, it feels odd. The whole purpose of the Whoop is you actually have to be wearing it constantly, so 24 hours a day. And that's why it's actually been allowed in professional sports. So I was watching the Jays game last night, and Aaron Sanchez on the DL, he was sitting there watching the game, but you could see on his wrist that he actually had the Whoop on, even though it's considered gameplay because he was wearing his uniform. It's odd at the beginning to be wearing something 24 hours, even when you're sleeping. You can go swimming with this thing. You can even wear it in the shower if you choose to. So that took a couple of weeks for me to sort of get over. Now I honestly don't even notice it. I wear it when I go running or when I'm working out. It doesn't bother me anymore, but I think that initial aspect of having a wearable device on at all times was a bit off at the beginning. So after you get past that, it's much easier.
Very good. I think that summarizes some of our experiences there with the Whoop. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, let us know. Thanks for following Therapy Thursday.